Pope Francis, he managed to get into power in a very interesting manner due to the fact that the previous Pope did a couple of things that are unorthodox. You see, the previous Pope was absolutely hated by the mainstream media. I remember the Young Turks talk a lot about him. They would compare him with Emperor Palpatine. And I actually tried to find out what's wrong with him, but like the only thing that I could notice is that, well, he's just a Catholic. Now, if you don't like Catholicism, you probably wouldn't like that Pope, but he wasn't out of the ordinary or anything. And then something weird happens. All of a sudden, he decides to step down. Like, there's no major scandal, there's no cancel culture attempt, no accusation that he may have committed some crime or anything like that would justify him stepping down. No, he simply decides to resign. And while this has happened in the past, like other popes have resigned, as I mentioned before, it's extremely rare. And he said that he's doing this, if I remember correctly, due to health reasons. But after resigning, he lived for several more years just fine. Seemed to be in good health, at least on television. And so, like, the wonder of why he resigned is probably something that we will never know. But what's also interesting is that the way Pope Francis was elected. Now, Pope Francis, he wasn't a very known individual, wasn't that popular in the spotlight. And he was elected pretty fast. And so, my opinion, again, this is just my personal take, is that there was a coup inside the church. Probably someone threatened the previous pope with a schism over some things. Maybe they blackmailed him, or maybe just the ideology changed in such a way that they didn't really want a Catholic as the pope. And so events moved, something happened, he did resign, and immediately the social justice pope came to power. Now, I call him social justice pope because, well, as you can see when you ask the search engine, ChatGPT, about what are some of the achievements of the current pope, it talks about emphasis on mercy and social justice, right? Who am I to judge regarding gay priests, and advocated for a church that isn't a refuge for the marginalized. He allowed women more power under his church reforms and inclusivity, promoting a more inclusive and participatory church structure, allowing lay people, including women, to have voting rights in synodal assemblies, LGBTQ plus outreach. Francis adopted a more compassionate approach towards LGBTQ individuals. He approved blessings for same-sex couples under specific conditions and allowed transgender individuals to be baptized and serve as godparents. Role of women. While maintaining traditional stances on ordination, he appointed women to significant Vatican positions and allowed them to serve as lectors and acolytes. And all of these, like, you can find sources, so it's not like the AI is hallucinating with these things, and I'm pretty sure, like, no one that watches the video is going to doubt. It's just that I was a little bit lazy today, and I used ChatGPT in order to compile all of these things. But as you can see, he was a pretty progressive pope, right? Like, on almost every single issue, he would agree with the Democrats. He criticized Donald Trump for the wall. He criticized people that don't like mass migration. He criticized a lot of Christian governments and Christian countries, while not saying anything about when China decided to invade Hong Kong, while not saying anything about Middle Eastern nations that were persecuting Christians, so on and so forth. And so I know a lot of Catholics, at least on the internet, that were very disappointed by him. I guess if you're a Catholic that's also into social justice, you may have liked him. I'm actually curious if there's many Catholics that, genuinely like the current pope. But this video isn't about talking bad about him. In fact, I don't think this is talking bad about him. This is just like pointing out some of the things that he did, including receiving from a dictator a hammer and sickle with a crucifix, which, begs the question, like, did this pope actually consider certain things to be blasphemy? And if yes, what were they, But again, I'm an atheist, just looking from the outside in. I'm generally interested. And so the question is like, well, why would an atheist be interested in the Pope, right? Like, if you're not a Catholic, like, why does it matter? And it matters a great deal because the church is not just a theological institution, right? It's not just a place where you go to get some ideas like the philosophy department at Harvard. No, like the church is also a political institution. It's also a mass media institution. It's also one of the strongest, you could say NGOs. If it was an NGO, it would be the most influential one on earth. And so, if you have a united church, then if the Pope says, I support this guy in these elections in this country, well, that would carry a lot of weight. So it's filled with soft power, right? Like, even if you're not a Christian, you still need to recognize that, well, this is a political institution with a lot of power, a lot of wealth, and it does matter who's going to be the Pope. Again, nothing to do with Christianity, but simply bureaucracy, simply, worldly affairs. And so, who's going to be the next Pope? Well, like, imagine this guy, right?
Yes, this is very serious. Now we are witnessing an invasion. They are not refugees. No, this is an invasion of mass Islamization of Europe, which already went on for at minimum 50, 60 years, the Islamization in Europe. But now it is in mass. It is very evident. And so this is a global political agenda by the powerful of the world to destroy Europe culturally and religiously.
So again, doesn't matter if you agree or not with him, right? But like, imagine Bishop Athanasius Schneider being the Pope and having these types of speeches. He can't be censored. He can't be silenced. They can't arrest him for hate speech or anything like that. But even more so, imagine that the priests, like, they are going to be told, top-down, hierarchical, on what to say during Mass. And imagine that, their congregation is going to church, and then they're going to listen to one of these speeches. And all of a sudden, you're talking about reaching so many people outside of the traditional system. There's no social media, there's no terms of service. It's very difficult to arrest them. I mean, it looks fucking bad, right? Like, imagine if Germany, for instance, was to arrest a priest for holding Mass. Like, that would be unthinkable, right? And so, it does matter who's going to be the next Pope, especially in the sense of what type of ideology does he have. Because sure, like all popes, they understand theology, all of them are Catholics, but they're still human beings. They still have political leanings, they still have various political points of view. Like, for instance, there's another one, I think is a cardinal in Ethiopia, a black gentleman. Holy shit, if that guy manages to become the Pope, the mainstream media is going to have a meltdown. And so, I'm going to be very interested. I think it may still be a social justice Pope. Like, simply for the fact that, well, if you have Pope Francis, and he was there for a lot of years, he probably placed the people that he liked and he trusted in high places. And so, chances are that you may get still a progressive Pope. Maybe wrong. I don't know. We'll see. But that's my 2 cents. Still, it's a couple of months away, and we're going to find out if I'm right or not. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.